I bring us to a Hanner Lle, the half place of the village. We begin sat on a ledge where a window may be, our legs hanging like a baby in a baby chair, to see what's around, beyond, about. We are looking out to the fields from a glassless opening in another kind of opening, a doorless, roofless one. We see straw barrelled into round pulped bales. Expanse. A deadwen tree to the left. Grass and modivar blades upright, ready to be cut down by retired Farmer Dewi's retired son. I then lead us to look in at pieces of hardwood on the floor, made puffy with water after years of rain. Gathered leaves that look like shadows. A Hanner Lle is a ribcage of concrete walls with wind rolling through that have been appearing in jump cut-like shoves for a decade. As a child, I passed by, blinking at the magic trick change from a group of piled bricks to what I now call walls. I'd spend the walk to the bus stop asking my parents about when a hole becomes a window, and when parts become a hole, and when a hole becomes a house. In my polyester Ysgol Gynradd Llandysil school uniform, I tried to make sense of structures I thought I'd inhabit one day in some way. The words are blurry but heavy here. Teulu, family. Traddodiad, tradition. Disgwyliad, expectation. Later, we climb through and into another part, traversing a series of hallways. Light the colour of a harvest wanders the walls and we tackle terms for the Hanner Lle that stunt its growth on this page and on this Fferm Cwrt land. Talking about Hanner Lle seems to crack open language. We trip over terms like grit, laying and relaying each word like a breeze block, framing, rotating, securing, leaving, dismantling. Words like in, out, through, between don't seem to fit when the place we talk about is a place unfinished. Without a ceiling, there's no under. Without a door, there's no in. Stopping and starting, changing course, rephrasing, revisiting. Thinking back to abandoned buildings, we picture places left behind, half-lived. We don't imagine buildings half-built and then left unlived in, or at least I don't. Hanner Lle, unlike a rundown mansion or empty cottage, stands as a reminder for locals of unfulfilled prospects and unmet desires. It makes me feel the way I do when I see someone waiting in a restaurant for a guest that never arrives. Maybe I like Hanner Lle because I can walk through it. I try to avoid symbolism, but I always approach this half place. I like to watch it crumble apart like the meaning trapped in between Dewi children's Wenglish descriptions of their futures, back when the hope was new and not sad. Back when we lay down after school looking at the sky from the rectangular puddle of cement they called a lolva and said, "When we tyfu up, we'll have our families on this lle too. We'll be big enough to see through any window onto the fields where we'll still be farming llaeth for everyone's tea. And our children will live in another lle on our tir over there." Time to clear up. Where I come from, farmers start to lay down breeze blocks on plots when their children reach adolescence. The first bricks are arranged in an outline of a house, and these Hanner Lles, these half places, resemble houses in the way a square with a triangle does. Tor, roof. Waliai, walls. The components act as representations of ideas far bigger than any building. Again, symbolism. They're an extension of the family on family soil. They tell children, neighbours, locals, and passers-by that tomorrow is thought for and that the future is on its way. They display a tangible faith in traditional families, traditional roles, and traditional lives. Mam, Tad, 2 or 3 children, sheepdog, tractor, fire burning in the winter. Something I've only ever become aware of since moving back this year is that being 23 years old without a husband or a home is a sign of failure to locals, a sign of a half person, and I've enjoyed building alternative lives between the walls of the Hanner Lle. But where's the family that was meant to fill the Hanner Lle, we wonder? The husband and wife and children. We piece together the answer as we piece together the language, and we decide not to ask because we know it's unromantic and bleak. Nid yw ffordd o fwy hon yn ganlyniadau mwyach, a nid oes unrhyw yn y prynu lleol mwyach, a nid yw ffermydd ar gyfer bobl fel ni bellach, nid ydym yn tyfu hynny y bellach. Instead, we half listen to hearsay about the Hanner Lle. We hear that the daughter drowned in the Afon Shedi. We hear that the son was taro gan tractor. We hear gofynnodd I rywun to marry him, ond they said na. Clywsonodd I redeg I ffwrdd I fod yn lleian. We like to play pretend with the Hanner Lle and fill the gaps ourselves. Today I walk around the half place and watch a loose pipe for water to come one day roll about in the wind, bouncing against the walls and then fill with water falling from the sky. I pick it up carefully and pretend it's a mug of tea with fresh milk from the cows outside. I call down the hall for dinner, and the theatricality of it all makes me think of film sets, of walls made with cardboard and windows made with plastic, of half places made only to be pretended in. Then I think of James in the 1999 film Ratcatcher, as he gets off the bus at the Balmore Road, the end of the line. He finds a skeletal, unfinished house on a new council estate in the countryside and rattles among scaffold poles, breeze blocks, wood crates, ladders. The young boy walks between dust-covered walls and detached appliances in quiet. He navigates the lay of the half-place with ease and awe. He pisses in the unplumbed toilet, and wee leaks onto the floor from a gap at the base. A puddle gathers. He lies in the plastic-coated bath, and a long sigh leaves him. Gold light filters in. Warmth. The outside and the inside crossfade. Then, plastic breathes out with the wind that comes through a hole in the wall where glass is promised, and it blinks like water. From horizontal, James folds to turn the detached tap clockwise, miming the end of its running. After this, he walks to the window place. His legs swing over. He jumps onto the empty field. And then away. The scene clings to my memory like the dust covers that drape across the half-place on screen, and I think about it as I go through the hollow Hanner Lle in my village. I look at unplastered walls, and the hole for a roof, and the empty doorways. I look to the ceiling, and see nothing but sky, the most unnothing thing in the world. I think about dim bead, which when half-translated means no world, but when fully translated means nothing. I think of what's lost in that half-place between language. I raise my arms and feel the rain fall in, around, on, over. I watch it collect on the floor. Just an empty house. Empty of what?